Hi, ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chart Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we do not take you for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. And if you also find value with what we share here, be sure to like, drop a comment, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. So without wasting much time, let's have a quick recap of last week's setups discussed in our previous video before we dive into next week's analysis. Stay tuned. We have here NZD USD. So we had this setup from episode 17 and price has actually finally hit its TP. And the rest of the setups I'm going to share were actually all losses. We had a back-to-back loss this week, so let's see the thought processes behind those trades and how it's turned out. So we have here also GBPCAD. We took this position 2 weeks ago. We were actually holding this trade and it eventually came to hit our SL, so we took a loss on GBPCAD. So for AUDUSD, last week we anticipated that price was going to form this right shoulder and give us a pullback and then continue the sell to the downside. This was the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. This actually played out so fast, and the actual entry was this wick we have here. So we missed out on the first entry on AUDUSD, and then before NFP, due to impatience, we took another loss on AUDUSD. So this was a thought process. This was what happened. So just before NFP, on the 45 minutes time frame, you can see a possible left head and right shoulder formation. And then before this formation started, we actually identified this area of interest, and which we were anticipating that price was going to make its way into the area of interest first and give us some reversal patterns to sell. But due to impatience, the reversal pattern even happened before even mitigating or finding its way to the area of interest. So after taking this position, NFP came and then took us out, and then later kept dropping as we were anticipating earlier. So this trade was, or this setup, or this loss was out of impatience. So we lost on this trade. We have here EURGBP. And EURGBP, we were anticipating that price was going to shift structure here and then give us a buying opportunity to the upside. So we had the confirmation on the 1 hour time frame, and this was the bullish engulfing candle that gave us the confirmation to buy. We took the buy, price went into profit a while and then took us out later on. And I'll say this second position was out of a revenge, which is not the right thing to do. So this second trade was a revenge trade, and still price took us out. So we took 2 losses on EURGBP last week. We also have here Bitcoin Cash. So with Bitcoin Cash, it gave us all the necessary confirmations we needed, but still we took one loss on it. The second trade was not taken. So we were anticipating that price was going to shift or break this, was going to retest this area of interest, give us a selling confirmation, or give us a 4-hour structural shift. To call the 4-hour structural shift, and price pulled back nicely into the area of interest again and give us this 4-hour bearish engulfing candle, which gave us the entry confirmation. We took the trade, went into profit a while, and then took us out. And price actually made its way back into the second area of interest, which we were looking out for to sell from, and give us like something like a left shoulder, a head, and a possible right shoulder. So at the possible right shoulder, which we didn't take, was also give us all the confirmations we need, give us the rejection, and then give us this engulfing candle here as a confirmation entry, as a confirmation for the entry. So if we had taken this trade, we would have taken another loss on this one as well. It went into profit and then came back to hit the SL and made its way all the way to the upside. So this was also a loss from last week. Let's look at the economic calendar for the coming week. So on Monday, we're going to have a bank holiday for the Japanese yen. On Tuesday, there's a core PPI for the USD, On Wednesday, we have CPI for AUD, and then I'll say the most volatile news or economic event we'll have for this week will be the NZD official cash rate or the RBNZ monetary policy statement. This news is very, very, very volatile. So if you're holding any NZD pair, anything NZD, just be on the lookout. Because sometimes even on GBPNZD, when this news is released, it's able to do more than 100 pips per move on that news. So be on the lookout. Later that day, we're going to have the autumn forecast statement for the GBP, and then the unemployment claims and prelim GDP and core PCE price index for the USD on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to have a bank holiday, which is a Thanksgiving day for the US. So it's going to be a bank holiday on Thursday. And on Friday, we're going to have the CAD GDP on Friday. So now let's have a look at the setups we have for the coming week. We have here DXY, and DXY is giving us a certain kind of formation. So if we are to use Elliott waves, DXY is forming a possible leading diagonal. So for the leading diagonal, this will be the starting point of the impulse. So this is going to be our wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and a possible wave 5. So for the coming week, we are extremely bullish on. We are still very bullish on DXY. So what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback into any of these areas. We're going to look forward to a possible pullback to this zone or this zone, whichever. And if we get buying confirmations, we'll continue the buy to the upside. So we are going to be very bullish on DXY. This can only shift bearish if price breaks below this zone and clears these lows and comes for a retest and continues the downside. Until then, we are extremely bullish on DXY. So due to that, all XXX USD pairs we're going to look for sales, and all USDXXX pairs will be looking out for buys for the coming week. So we have here EURNZD, which we are still holding on to this position from last 2 weeks. So going to next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback to this area of interest. Look for selling confirmations and continue the sales to this previous targets we had from the previous episodes. And our second target is going to be the zone we have below right here. Should price also pull back a bit higher out of this zone, a bit higher, we'll still be looking out for the selling opportunities to continue the sales to the downside for EURUSD. This can only shift bullish if price breaks or clears these highs or this zone to the upside and comes for a pullback and continues to the upside. Until then, we are extremely bearish for EURUSD. We have here GBPUSD, and for GBPUSD we had this retest. Price was able to make its way to retest this weekly area of interest and give us a nice daily structural shift. So price is now we're looking forward to a possible pullback into this zone, and that will also be a possible retest of this trend line and look for selling opportunities to the downside. So this is the trend line that we are looking forward to a possible pullback or price to retest and give us the selling confirmation to the downside. So this will be our various targets for GBPUSD. So we are looking forward to a pullback into this zone, this very zone, get selling confirmations around this zone, will take ourselves to the downside. So we are very bearish on GBPUSD. We have here USDCHF. So for USDCHF, we are going into next week due to what we are anticipating or looking forward to on DXY. We should price pull back to this zone. These are various targets, TP1, TP2, TP3, so whichever you want to hold to, look forward to a possible pullback to the very first zone. And so if we get buying confirmations from any of these two zones, we'll be willing to take those buys to the upside. Should price violate or break these lows or clear the zone, we'll still be looking forward to that huge daily deep graph pattern that is yet to complete on on USDCHF. This is the pattern. So this is the deep crab pattern which is yet to complete. So if price is able to break below, then we'll be looking out for a completion of that deep crab pattern to the downside for USDCHF. But if it doesn't break below, then we are going to continue looking for the buy side of for USDCHF for the coming week. We also have here USDCAD. So USDCAD on a weekly perspective is bullish, daily bullish, weekly 4-hour bullish. So for the coming week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback to this area of interest. Possible pullback into this area of interest. We get buying confirmations, we buy to the upside to this target, or should price pull back to the second zone below, we'll still be looking out for the buying confirmation to the upside. So we are also very bullish on USDCAD. If price then breaks these zones and clears these lows, then we'll be looking out for the sell to the downside. So we are very bullish on USDCAD as well. So this is AUDUSD, and it happens to be one of my favorites for the coming week. I think the favorite pairs I have for the coming week will be AUDUSD, AUDCAD, and then GBPNZD. So going into next week, we are looking forward to a possible pullback into this zone. Then we get selling confirmations, we take to the downside. So we are very bearish on AUDUSD, very bearish on AUDUSD. So we're looking out for selling opportunities back into the zone. When should price pull back into this zone, we'll be looking out for selling opportunities here, and we'll continue ourselves to the downside. I think we saw this from previous weeks. If you go to the weekly time frame, you will realize that we are developing a head and shoulder on the weekly time frame. So on a weekly perspective, this is what is happening right here. This is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder, which is developing. So we are looking forward to sell to the downside. We are very bearish on AUDUSD. And if you drop down to the 4-hour time frame, you realize there's a harmonic pattern also developing right here. So that's why we chose this target as our second TP. So this is the harmonic pattern that is also developing for AUDUSD. This is the X, this is the A, this is the B, this is the C leg. This will be our potential D leg. So we're looking forward to a possible pullback into this zone to give us a completion of this harmonic pattern we have identified on AUDUSD. We have here AUDCAD, and AUDCAD is also giving us a similar head and shoulder formation like that. So this is the left shoulder, this is the right, this is the head, this is the right shoulder, and then we are looking forward to continue the sales to the downside. So we are also very bearish on AUDCAD, because the AUDCAD on a weekly perspective is bearish, daily bearish, 4-hour bearish. So what to be expedient of us to look out for sales than to look for buys. So we are going to look for a possible pullback into this very zone here, and look for selling confirmations to the downside to these various targets we have below. The second possibility is price can also break below this zone, this neckline. Price can break below this neckline, give us a retest, and then continue to the downside. So this can only shift bullish if price is able to break above the zone, clear these highs we have here, and continue to the upside. Until then, we are going to look out for the bearish side for AUDCAD for the coming week. We also have here EURCAD. So EURCAD has about 3 possible scenarios. So these are the possible scenarios. Should price make its way to this zone, give us selling confirmations like a head and shoulder, double top, we'll be interested in taking a sell to the downside. And if price also breaks these lows here, this is more like a neckline for this left shoulder, this is the head, this is the possible right shoulder. So this could be a break of the neckline, we come for another retest, and we continue to the downside. So these are the possible. This is the first scenario for EURCAD. The second scenario would be price can also break, sell and break these lows, come back for a retest of this zone, and continue to the downside. The third scenario would be that if price does not sell and continues buying and breaks above these highs, then that's it breaks above by having a daily candle closure above these highs, then we'll be looking out for buying opportunities to the upside. So for now we are going to look out for the bearish side for AUDCAD and the bullish side. We also have here once again the GBPCAD. So for GBPCAD, these are also the possible scenarios we're going to look out for. If we get a daily candle close above this structure over here, this daily structures over here, and we get a pullback into this zone, we can look out for possible buying opportunities to continue the buys to the upside. This will be the ultimate target, but before we consider this ultimate target, this is an area of interest as well where price can also react and start selling from to the downside. Price can also come here, give us a reaction, and continue selling to the downside, or start selling to the downside. And if this happens, you might look out for a possible break of these lows, or the break of these structures below, and come back for a pullback and continue the sales to the downside. So this will be the target if price is able to break below this zone. And if we are to go by the bullish side, should price make its way into this zone and give us strong bullish movements, if the bullish candles that approach this zone are strong, then we can hold that trade to this TP we have above here. But if the bullish candles are weak, we have to exit that buying position if we are able to take the buys from the zone to the upside. These are the possible scenarios we have for GBPCAD for the coming week. We also have here GBPNZD. So for GBPNZD, we have the weekly perspective, the daily perspective, and I think the 4-hour is here to shift bearish. So daily and weekly is bearish, and 4-hour is here to shift bearish. So for the coming week, what you are going to look out for is even a nice trend line that price can break. So what we're looking out for is a 4-hour structure shift. So if you get a 4-hour candle break below this structure, it means we have shifted bearish for the 4-hour as well, and we wait for a possible price shoulder or a possible lower high and look for selling confirmations to the downside. So this is our very first scenario. The second scenario will be that if we get a daily candle closure, if the structures are able to shift and we get a daily candle closure below this zone, then we look out for a possible pullback. A possible lower high anywhere around these regions, and then we look for selling confirmations to the downside. The ultimate target is below, so what we can do is, if we're able to target this very zone, we can exit that first position we took from the top and wait for price to break nicely out of this zone and come for another retest and sell to this ultimate target. Also, if you have the courage to hold the position, if you're able to catch a position anywhere around the top here and you still want to hold to the downside, you can, or you can just be taking partial profits when price makes its way into this zone, and then you hold the rest of the positions to this ultimate target below. This can only shift bullish if price buys above and clears these structural highs and continues the upside. Then all these bearish movements we are looking out for will be invalidated. We also have a similar setup for EURNZD. So for EURNZD, we are looking forward to this 4-hour structural shift also here. So if the 4-hour shift structure here and gives us a pullback, if the structure shifts here, this is the 4-hour structure, this is the daily structure. So if the daily structure shifts, if the daily candle closes below this zone, or a 4-hour structure, a 4-hour candle closes below this zone and gives us a pullback back into this zone, which would be like a possible right shoulder or a possible lower high, we'll be interested in taking the sales from here to the downside. So this is going to be our target for EURNZD. This will be invalidated if price breaks above and continues to the upside. So we are bearish on EURNZD as well for the coming week. So we also have here EURGBP once again. For EURGBP, we had this scrap pattern which had completed. And price is making its way to the downside. So it will be more wise for us to look for selling opportunities to sell to the TP2 for the crab pattern. So for the coming week, we will look for a possible pullback into this zone or a retest of these 4-hour structures and look for selling opportunities to the downside. So this very TP we have below here. So we are bearish on EURGBP. Should price break above this zone with daily candle closures and continue to the upside, then that is when this move will be invalidated. We also have GBPJPY. For GBPJPY, I think out of all the JPYs, GBPJPY has the cleanest setup for now. So for the coming week, we look forward to a possible pullback. I mean, it has already retested the zone, but should price pull back a bit deeper and give us some bullish confirmations within this zone, we'll be very glad to take the buy to the upside. Or should price pull back a bit deeper into the second zone below, we'll still be interested in taking the buys to the upside for GBPJPY. This is our target we have above. But if price is able to break below this zone and clear these lows, this structure, then comes for a pullback, then we'll look forward to the bearish side for GBPJPY. We have here gold, and as we all know, gold has been very bullish for a very long time. So in a weekly perspective on gold, we have weekly, daily, and 4 hours has also shifted bullish. So the weekly perspective, daily perspective is bullish, 4 hours is also bullish. So these are the possible scenarios we have here. We can be patient and wait for price to break above this zone, because we have a possible head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder developing right here. So this is the left shoulder, this is the head, this will be the possible right shoulder we have seen here. So should price break above this neckline and come for a retest, that will be more certain for us to enter this position to take it to the upside. Or the second scenario, or second possibility we can have is that price can also pull back a bit deeper back into this zone to give us something like a double bottom formation. So if price is able to pull back into this zone and give us buying confirmations here, this can also be a valid zone to buy from to complete this godly pattern. But if price is able to break below this zone we have here and clears these structures we have here, then we can wait to look out for the sales for gold. And if this godly pattern is able to play out and the momentum is very strong, price might make its way to this crab pattern, which is around $4,700 per ounce for gold. So this is the pattern that is developing. This is the X, this is the A, this is the B, this is the C leg, and this will be the possible D leg. So it depends on how the momentum goes. Price can just continue and then form this crab pattern instead. So let's be on the lookout for gold this week. We have here silver, and so for silver, from the last previous, I think from the previous two previous episodes, we identified this pattern that price was possibly going to break above with a daily candle, come for a retest around this zone and give us a buying confirmation to the upside. So now the pattern has evolved, and now we're going to look out for a possible deep crab pattern formation. So these are X, these are A, these are B, these are possible C, which is here to finish developing, and this will be our D. The D is going to target $60 per the ounce for silver. So for the coming week, what we'll be looking out for is a reversal pattern, maybe a double bottom, maybe an inverse head and shoulder around this zone, and then we look for buying confirmations to the upside to complete this deep crab pattern. Or should price also violate this zone and clear these lows, then we're looking out for the bearish side for this setup for silver. We also have here Brent crude oil, or the UK oil. We have been very bearish on this asset, on this commodity, for a very long time, but price has not been able to give us clear entry opportunities for the coming week. This is what we'll be looking out for. We're looking out for a possible pullback to this very first zone, look for selling confirmations and take it to the downside to this very first TP or the second TP we have below. Or should price make its way a little bit above and come for the second zone above, we'll still be interested in taking the sells from that zone to the downside. This can only shift bullish if price is able to clear these highs and continue to the upside. Until then, we are very bearish on Brent crude oil, and the prices you see here is actually from the broker. So the actual price, this is $59.92 per barrel, and this is $58.28 per barrel. These are the various targets we're going to have for Brent crude oil. We have here S&P 500, and the S&P 500 on the weekly perspective and the daily perspective is very bearish now. And so for the coming week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback into this area of interest. We look for selling confirmations and we take the sells to the downside. Then should this play out, should this move play out, then this is going to be a possible head and shoulder formation we have developing right here. This is going to be the head. This is going to be the left shoulder. This is going to be the head. So the possible right shoulder is what we are looking out for right now. So if the right shoulder is able to develop, then we'll be looking out for sells to the downside. So what we can do is we can wait for price to react from this right shoulder, then break the neckline of this whole head and shoulder formation. Then we look out for a possible retest into the neckline and take ourselves from there to the downside. So we are very bearish on S&P 500 for now. This can only be invalidated if price breaks above this zone and clears these highs. Then we'll consider the S&P 500 bullish. Until then, we are very bearish for now. We have here US30. US30 has a similar setup as S&P 500. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback into these two areas of interest. The first one, this very area of interest, look for selling opportunities to the downside. Or should price pull back, go back a bit higher than this zone or makes its way to the second zone, we'll still be interested in looking for the selling opportunities to the downside for US30 for the coming week. So if price is able to break this high and come back, then we'll consider US30 bullish. Until then, we are very bearish for US30. So we also have here Russell 2000 or the US 2000. It also has a similar setup as the S&P. So going into next week, we want a pullback. We want to see a pullback into this very first zone, get selling confirmations into this zone, or should price pull back a bit higher to the zone above, then we'll still be looking out for selling opportunities to the downside. And if price, depending on the momentum that price comes with in this very zone, if the bearish momentum is very strong, you can possibly hold that trade to this very TP also we have below. And this can only shift bullish if price breaks above this zone and continues to the upside. So the final one, the last one we have here is Bitcoin Cash once again. And because we can see now price is giving us a different harmonic pattern formation. So this is a possible Gartley pattern that we see developing right here. So this is the X, this is the A, this is the B, this is our C leg, and we are looking for a continuation to the D leg. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to a pullback to this very first zone. Look for buying confirmations and continue to the upside to $609 for Bitcoin Cash. And should price pull back a bit deeper into this zone also and give us buying confirmations, we'll still be interested in taking the buys to complete this Gartley pattern. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end of this video. There's also another target we have above. That's if price is able to break strongly above this zone, the price can also head to $776 per Bitcoin Cash. So thank you so much for sticking through, staying tuned to the end of this video. I really appreciate you for taking your time to be here, and I would encourage all of us, including myself, that we shouldn't be impatient, we shouldn't be trading with revenge. We should also be applying proper risk management to our trades, and then trade safe and sound. So I wish all of us a fruitful week ahead, a profitable week as well, and I'll catch you guys on another episode. So take care. Bye bye.